So it's been 24 hours since I've seen the Barbie movie. So let's talk about it. So the Barbie movie came out, mid July 2023. Caused a lot of hubbub around the world. There were a couple countries banned it because of a map in the movie. People were worried that Barbie was gay or something. Kind of more people were worried, like, hey, what's a movie about Barbie going to be about? Is it going to be any good? How is it rated PG-13? That's a little weird. But, I was sold on it because Ryan Gosling was Ken, so, I'm going to go to it. This is going to be a review on the Barbie movie. I wanted to do it 24 hours later because then I would have thought about it for a little bit. It wouldn't be just fresh in my mind, but not like too gone to where, it would be weird or something. So that's going to be one of these series where I start, if I go see a movie in the movie theater, 24 hours later, I'll sit down and make a review about it. And hopefully I can persuade some people to watch or not watch it, depending on if it's good or not. So let's get right into this one. Overall, I started it with, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good movie, and I'd go see it again. It was definitely not the movie you thought it would be, honestly. I saw a lot of people comparing it to the Lego movie in terms of like the overall plot and everything. But honestly, the plot is really not what you'd really think it would be when you're going into a Barbie movie. You think, oh, it's going to be like just Barbie or something, they're just going to like play Barbies, or, they're just going to be in Barbie land or do stuff like that. No, it was a little different. So let's talk about the cast. I think the cast was really well done. All the characters were really, really well done. All the actors did a phenomenal job. I couldn't say there was really any I didn't like. I think everyone did a pretty good job at playing who they were supposed to be playing. Ryan Gosling, by far my favorite in the entire movie. What a literal legend. He is literally me, by the way. And I did whisper that over to my girlfriend every single time he did pop up on screen or did something. I was like, that's literally me. And she'd just turn around and she'd slap me, and then we'd continue the movie. Margot Robbie, the main actress of the movie, she did a really, really good job being Barbie. I mean, it's kind of like one of those movies where they don't know they're like, they're a toy, and they're living in a world where they're toys. So things work a little differently for them. They don't know all this other stuff that's happening to real world people. And it's always really weird to see some actors portray that like they definitely know what it's like because they're actually human, but they're portraying this inanimate object that doesn't have any of those things. And I think she did a really good job. The music in the movie was really good. Moving on from the actors to the music. The music was really good. They had a lot of original stuff that fit along with the movie. That was really, really good, and I was really surprised. They even had I saw somewhere that they don't have the Barbie girl movie in there. They had a remix of it, so there was like they were like rapping over it, and then like it was the beat, and it went really hard. Not gonna lie, so I was really happy there to see that. But that's in the end credits, so it doesn't take away from the movie because it's a little fourth wall breaking, even though they did break it a few times. There was a narrator. It's a narrating movie, and I thought they did a really good job with it. There's a lot of movies where it's like narrator, boom, it's over. I feel like it was a really natural way to break off the narrator. And there was a few times throughout the movie where it popped up, and it felt really natural, and it felt like it wasn't interrupting my movie or anything like that. But like a lot of narrators seem like they do, or they're only there to move the story, like get you interested in the story. But this one, I don't feel like it did it like that. So if you're here and you're like, oh man, I don't want spoilers. Well, I'm gonna talk some spoilers. So if you don't want to get spoiled at all, then you probably want to see the movie. So just go see the movie. It was a good movie. So moving into spoilers, she's getting played with by this little girl, and then the little girl gives it to her mother, and the mother start causing all these problems, but she doesn't know that yet. And so she is like talking to the other Barbies, like, oh, she's supposed to be perfect, just like a Barbie, but she wasn't anymore. So she had to go back to the real world and figure out how to fix all this stuff. And back in her world, everything's perfect. She wakes up same time every morning, takes a shower, has the same breakfast, does the same stuff every day, throws a party every night, goes to the beach. So she has a party every morning. She goes to the same party every night. She does all this stuff all the time, and she does it every single day. That's the important part. All right. So then she's like, oh, this isn't actually what's happening. She's having these thoughts about other things happening in her life, and she's like, oh, I didn't know these were things. And she doesn't like it, of course. Just like anybody, if you're living in a perfect world and some of these things are happening, so it makes perfect sense in the plot why she would do that. Then you're introduced to all the other characters, and it seems pretty good so far. Like, everything seems so natural and so good. It's like, oh, this is going to really well. How are they going to screw this up? They built it up so high, and it's like usually when the movie if they have a really good start like this, sometimes it just goes really downhill really fast. And this is the part, they're leaving the Barbie thing. Barbie and Ken are going to the real world, and it was amazing. It was so funny watching them portray these things, and it's like, again, I was talking about earlier where they're like, oh, an actor portraying something that doesn't know all the things that the actor knows. It's really interesting to see how they did it, and it was really, really good job, and I think both of them did a really amazing job, and it was just so good. It was hilarious too. I mean, like, a guy comes up, slaps her butt, she punches him, they go to jail. Hilarious. Like, of course, that's usually how it works, right? Guy slaps your butt, you assault the guy, you go to jail. And a couple of things like that happened a bunch. Like, she just goes to the school and she talks to the kid, and it was like, oh my god, you can't do that anymore these days, things like that. And then Ken learns about the patriarchy and how men rule the world and everything like that. And it was like, is the soy boy thing like, yo, men actually don't get treated like pieces of shit here like they do in the Barbie world. And that was hilarious to see. And they do all this back and forth, and they meet the creators of Barbie, and they're like, oh, you're not supposed to be here, we're going to send you back. And they're like, oh, but wait, I want to go back, all that jazz. So then they end up back. Now the Kens have taken over Barbie land. They have to fix that, all that jazz. Let's talk about some of the things I thought about the movie. That was the whole plot. So let's talk a little bit more about it. It was pretty good, honestly. I think even as, like, it was definitely targeted more towards appealing towards women, right? And I mean, it's a Barbie movie about Barbies, and Barbies have been primarily child's toy historically. Nowadays it's socially acceptable for everyone to, who cares what the little kid plays with, they can play whatever they want. But historically, that's the way it was designed. And so this movie was definitely like taking a lot of hits and jabs at, like, men do hold a lot of the positions in the real world, and in the Barbie world, everything was run by women, only women, because the Barbies held all the positions in the actual, like, Barbie. So it makes complete sense. And if, like, people who are, like, all upset about that, it makes absolutely no sense why they were upset about that shit. It's just like, the movie made about a children's toy that was made for girls about a woman, the women are going to rule everything, of course. It just makes so much sense. And if they get upset, like, oh, I don't like how the Kens are being treated, it's like, man, maybe that's how it's just like, it feels how it is, just reversed in our world. And it's just like, not every woman or man does these things and everything. And most people, men, will be like, I'm not part of the problem, but I feel really targeted by this movie. And it's like, if you don't feel like you're the problem, and you're not actually the problem making the lives of other people terrible, then of course it's not targeted at you. You can still enjoy a movie without being like, oh man, I'm feeling attacked right now. You can, like, I know I'm not somebody that, like, puts down women all the time and all that stuff, but even though, like, I'm a man, but it's still, sometimes it makes you feel like that's what it means in the movie, but it's really not. You can still enjoy it and be like, oh, I understand that this is how some people feel and this is how they see it, and I can understand the satirical aspect of it and the real aspect of it and what they're trying to portray through this. And I feel like that was a lot of this movie, and that's why a lot of people who don't have a lot of critical thinking skills are upset about it. They're like, oh man, not all men are bad, or, oh man, not all women are oppressed like this. It's like, man, it's just a movie. I don't know. Like, and especially at one point in the movie, it's like, the Kens, they learn about, like, oh hey, in the real world, for most of history, men actually just ruled the world. And then they go back and they start applying those things to the Barbie town or Barbie world, and they brainwash everybody. And I mean, it's just like, there's no way that wouldn't happen in real life. Let's just say all the men, because all, the main ones left, all the smart men left, and the women hypnotized all the men on Earth. You don't think in 24 hours they'd do all that same stuff? Heck, I would. I'd be like, you guys treat me like shit. I'm going to have fun now. It just makes so much sense. And it felt so good in the movie to see all that stuff. And it kind of felt like, they did something like terrible to the Barbies. And then they're like, oh, we'll actually make everything more equal now. And then they're like, oh, can we get a spot on the Supreme Court? And they're like, heck no, but you can be a lesser judge. I kind of felt like that was a little too on the nose with how a lot of equality movement has been. It's like, you can be equal, but we don't want you up here yet, sort of stuff. So I thought that was funny. Other than that, yeah, it's just a lot of people that look like Barbies and Kens, saying stuff at each other, flexing their muscles, showing off their bodies, and that was a lot of it. So it was a very sexualized movie, and I mean, I completely understand why some people wouldn't want their children to see that, and I'm sure that's part of the reasons why it was PG-13, because it definitely is very sexualized. And if you don't like that, then it's rough. You're not gonna like the movie. Other than that, I feel like the flow of the movie was really good. There was a lot of good jokes. There was a lot of really good, all the acts really went well together. I didn't feel like things were happening for no reason. Now, I do think there was a little bit of plot armor here and there, and I understand why they needed to do it. But, it made sense just because it was a Barbie movie. Like, let's get this stuff moving along, Let's explain this using Barbie logic, stuff like that. It's completely fine to me. Overall, I think this is up there in the best movies I've seen this year. So far, I think the best movie I've seen was Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Was a super good movie, and this one's up there. It's really good. It's a completely different movie. It's not a superhero movie, but it's so unique in the way that it portrays these characters and how it's trying to get messages across. I think as long as you can understand, the movie doesn't hate men, and it's not trying to make everyone gay. I don't know how you get that from watching the movie. Maybe I'll have to go watch through again when I'm angry or something and be like, oh yeah, they truly hate me or something. Honestly, I would give it a 93 out of 100. There's a few things here and there that was like, oh, like the plot armor stuff was like, I guess. And there's a few things that happened a couple times, and it was like, okay, I guess. Like one of the chasing scenes, I was like, I guess. I mean, they're trying to make it funny, and they did make it funny, but it was like, they could have made it a little bit more realistic in an actual chase. But a 93 out of 100 is a pretty good score, I think, for Barbie. It's a really fun watch. And it's a really good way, I think it's a really good first date movie, to be honest. Like, if you are a man or a woman and you think it's a good movie, right? And the person gets upset by it, well, then that tells you a lot about that person. Or if they really enjoyed it, then that tells you a lot about them, because it comments on society in a lot of ways. And if you get upset about it, it's like, well, then you shouldn't be with that person. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's been my 24 hours after review of Barbie. And I hope to keep doing this again. I'm seeing Oppenheimer soon, so that's going to be fun. And hopefully you agree with it. If you disagree with it, tell me why. It'd be hilarious to see why you disagree with me. Let me know down in the comments, like, subscribe, all that jazz. I'm Llamas. This has been the 24-hour review of Barbie 2023, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Bye.